Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another SwansCast podcast. The season is finally over, for us anyway. There's currently matches being played in the Championship. We are not involved in them, however. The playoffs, of course, you probably can see if you're on video podcast. There's one on in the background currently as we're recording. What's the score?
3-0, about to be full time. Bristol City have had a shocker. How you lose a tie in one leg is crazy.
Maybe a big comeback there, maybe dream over. We'll have to wait and see.
At
But
Bramall Lane, nah.
I'm surprised they got there. But we'll talk a bit about our opinions on the finishing positions and stuff in a little bit. But I've got Ben and Lee to join me this week, so welcome back, both of you.
Hello.
How are we?
It's been a while since the three of us been together.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, I think it's been a few weeks, and we're not going to do a full proper review today. We're going to review our Championship prediction table against the final finishing table, probably in the next episode, and we'll do some other bits with that, of course, as well. Maybe talk about the season as a whole. But today we're going to talk about the end of the season, obviously the last match, a couple of things that came since the last podcast, like retirements. There's been a new signing already, which is a bit nuts, I guess, in terms of what we're normally used to. What else? Have I missed anything else? Luke Williams has been speaking.
I just skip over that.
I don't want to go into detail about it. The only thing I want to mention about that is the potential comment on the different direction within the hierarchy, like the conflict. That's the only thing I want to touch on. Not necessarily so much what he said, but what we think about that. Because I think we did kind of talk about rumours to do with that in the past. So it's interesting he's come out and said stuff that align to that way of thinking. And we got a little bit of a little new segment that we're going to introduce called Lee versus Ben. So I've set him up with a little challenge, and I would like the community and everyone watching, whether that's you in the podcast, and I'm going to clip it out and post it on social media, so probably TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, stuff like that. So if you see this clip or hear it in the podcast, let us know who you think wins. I'm not going to spoil what the topic is yet, but when we get to it, just get involved and let us know which one of the two thinks done a better job with the task that I've set them. So, yeah, that's what's on today's agenda anyway. Before we get into that then, how have you both been the last week or two?
Go on, Lee.
Not bad. Yeah, it's been a bit hectic, but not bad. The Lion squad was announced today, so looking forward to that. It's not a completely dead summer now that the football's over.
So 2 Welsh players.
Yeah, as expected.
Where's that the lowest one in forever?
Ever. Yeah, it is. It's the lowest Welsh contingent ever in a Lion squad.
They are the two that I would have picked, to be fair.
Yeah.
Faletau was unlucky. Maybe it's just fitness, but
he only came back out of Six Nations, didn't he?
Yeah.
Can you rely on him to stay fit for the full tour? Probably not, I'd imagine.
Class is permanent, that's what I say. But I'm not the Lions coach, I guess.
You've got to have a fit squad to go there, and you.
Yeah. 35 players, don't mind. 38.
Yeah, but they do a lot of games, don't they?
Yeah.
Like midweek games, and it's not all just the 3 tests at the end.
Yeah. So yeah, looking forward to that now, because I think it works out perfectly as well that the third test is the first day of the new season, the new football season. So that's going to be a great day.
Is that on? That's on early, I'd imagine. And then
so 2nd of August is the third test, and that's the EFL first weekend. So that's which straight into the next one then. Perfect.
I haven't seen you since we went to QPR, Ben. So how have you been?
Chucked in the deep end with night shifts in work, but built up some annual leave, or time in lieu, flexi time, whatever you want to call it. So off this week, hence why I'm able to be here now. Yeah, you're gonna miss me next week again, back into night shifts once more. But yeah, not bad. Getting a good mood, to be fair, the way the Swans finished the season, how we started the summer as well, which we'll get into now. So yeah, in a good mood. What about you, Luke?
Yeah, not that much. Just work, to be honest. Trying to do bits around the house, but it's all boring, same old stuff. But yeah, we'll get cracking then. So, I mean, Championship season's over. Swansea have finished in 11th position, 61 points, which is more than last season. Just want to put that out there. 46 games, of course, 17 wins, 10 draws, and 19 losses. Goal difference of -5. We scored 51 and conceded 56. Ended, of course, with a draw at home to Oxford. I unfortunately wasn't able to witness this one due to being in work, but I know you both had a party to end the season. So How was it on the final day at the ground?
Really enjoyable, to be honest. Probably most enjoyable game all season. No, nothing to worry about. Great, probably the best away following we've had all season. I think
Oxford's away end.
Yeah, 'cause I think obviously they had survived and they'd come up and survived, so they were in party mode. And it looked like we'd actually opened more of the away end, like they were kind of coming around the corner a bit as well. So they had a big contingent, and it was just a great
Was
atmosphere.
it full, the stadium?
Yeah, well, they said it was a sellout, but there's still a couple of pockets of empty seats.
Well, it's weird. They said sellout, and then popped up on the screen 19,800. So
Yeah.
something's not adding up there. Whether they've started like tracking what season ticket holders use their seats or not. And
Do they
no shows?
close some seats off though, segregate the away end and stuff?
Weren't that many. There were little pockets in the corner where there were already home fans. There were little pockets in the south stand. Not many, mind. Nothing noticeable straight away, but you could see it if you looked for it.
It was the first time I'd seen fans clap each other when Oxford's fans were leaving the stadium and Swans fans like coming together, leaving where the segregation was. They were like clapping each other. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
It's the sort of thing it would never happen if there was anything riding on the game.
No, exactly.
Hand gestures at each other otherwise, wouldn't they? But
exactly.
No.
And that says what sort of like day it was. It was just everybody was just enjoying the day out, and the weather was class as well that day. So just made for a great atmosphere. And we had 6 goals.
Wish I could say the defending was class. in a 3-3 draw, you're happy when you're the one scoring, but I think every single goal we conceded was preventable. I think it's just one of those games you can't read too much into it. No. Obviously, Darling missing was a glaringly obvious issue with the man of the goals we conceded in. And yeah, Delcroix, I know he hasn't had tons of time, but based off that one performance, I'd be surprised if we go back in for him in the summer now, if I'm honest.
Really? That bad?
Yeah. To be honest, up until this point, I would have said, yeah, as a deputy, he'd been doing fine, but his defensive positioning, his one-on-one, situations, trying to defend one-on-one situations, it was poor. I know it's one game, but for me, that was a big opportunity for him to say, Darling's probably on the way out now. Come back in and get me in the summer again, because Burnley are going up. He wasn't getting game time in the Championship, so no way will he get any game time in the Prem. But no, yeah. Obviously the fact he's left-footed is a good trait to have. It will make him more appealing to clubs, but I wouldn't want him back personally.
No, the problem is as well, I think it made it obvious a bit more how much we missed Darling as well, because our run of form where we only conceded the 1 goal against QPR, and then Darling was injured against Millwall, and then the goal we conceded there was pretty poor, and then the 3 goals we conceded against, not saying it's just Darling, but it is a big miss.
Fair enough. Some talking points then, the goals. Do you want to walk me through the 3 goals? I saw that Josh Tyman had all 3 assists.
Yeah, class.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the first goal, Om's goal, obviously good for Tyman, he's got that assist, but I think that was very much Om doing the work himself. But no, the Cullen goal in particular was, Tyman being Tyman, good ball into the box. I said as soon as Cullen came on as well, off the bench, he would offer something for Potnick. Wouldn't in this game, it suited Cullen more. Cullen likes to arrive late into the box, and that's exactly what he did for the 3rd goal. And you think it's the winner at that point, don't you? So late on. I think the 2 goals we conceded, the first 2, they were just both poor, weak defending from a set piece. I was waiting. This is all ones the ref usually gives a foul. You look at it, so bad. Something must have gone wrong. Someone must have been pulled down. It just didn't happen. Cabango said he got pushed looking back. It's one of those ones, maybe some refs give it, but just don't go down so easy. You don't have the issue in the first place. I think second goal, similar. It was the crowd at the back post. Big Guru couldn't get to it. Both times then were just second to the second balls, and Oxford, gave him good opportunities on a plate for no reason, didn't we, really? 3rd goal was O'Brien, as good as he's been all season. It was O'Brien, wasn't it? It's the sort of thing, if Fulton does it, he gets exiled, Similar to what we said with Franco, Franco and O'Brien, because they're so good on the ball and whatever, they're allowed to make those mistakes normally because it's rare. Fulton, because we don't see him so much. If he makes that mistake O'Brien did first time, pass across the box, nowhere near enough power on it, intercepted. Defending after that was a shocking display as well, mine from a couple of players. But yeah, this is what I mean. All 3 goals. We won't be mounted any playoff pushes if that continues in that manner next season.
Finally on the beach then, basically.
I think so.
I think the atmosphere was there, and you could see it on the pitch as well. Because
no one really cared. They played. It was just having a party.
Yeah, they played with like good confidence going forward because it was kind of that you could see they kind of had that freedom, like scoring 3 goals, but it was also the same then defensively where it was just a bit of. I don't know what O'Brien was doing for that last minute of the game. You'd be thinking, right, just keep it really tight now to make sure you win this game. But he's just kind of like, yeah, let's just chuck this pass in, see what happens. Just like
Because
Maybe
I'm
he
not
doesn't want to come back, and he was making sure of it.
I'm not sure if they were aware.
I don't
or
want to
not,
come back. Oops.
It was
I'm not
great
sure-
because.
I'm not sure if they're aware or not. See, like win, lose or draw, we were guaranteed 11th. That's the definition of on the beach's definition of dead rubber, isn't it?
It's crazy that we were in that situation though, guaranteed 11th, regardless of the result.
Would have taken that in February.
Yeah. And not to give too much spoilers for our table, but
I know it's pretty accurate. I think from what I can remember.
Oh, was it? I can't even remember.
For Swans.
Yeah, I want to say. I can't remember which one of you it was. I want to say Lee predicted 9th, Luke predicted 13th, I predicted 11th, which averaged out as 11th. So,
fair play, spot on.
Yeah.
Quality.
9th. I picked 9th.
It might have been me 9th, you 13th.
I can't see me being that optimistic.
We also predicted Cardiff mid-table.
I predicted Cardiff. I want to say 20th. I'm not taking any.
No, I checked it already. We all called it.
I was going to say, don't check it and we'll live react.
No, I just checked that one a couple of weeks ago because I tried finding the bookies list from pre-season. I can't find it anywhere. So
they were down there. They were right.
Yeah, they were down there, but I wanted to see the full. Because I remember we had a conversation about Cardiff saying like the bookies are never wrong, and then we were all really surprised that Cardiff were down there. So I wanted to compare the rest of the table against their odds.
Yeah. Well,
I remember it was in that video where we did the table prediction where you two told me that Cardiff were favourites to go down. I remember I didn't believe you. I thought,
so I think
see them being down there.
Luton probably be one of the big ones. That's a big difference. But I want to see the rest of the table from like we'll compare our predictions to final table, but I want to see the bookies' predictions.
They had us. Table. I think it was about 15th, 16th. So
it's not too far off again, but like okay, back to this game anyway. You've mentioned goal already, but again, showing that he's just coming out of his shell more and more. I think he's been threatening that sort of goal all season, but not quite nailing it, not quite pulling it off. And it's great to see one just nestle up in the top corner.
Well, yeah, 3 goals he's got now. 2 of them were
goal, I should say.
2 of them, if not screamers, they were long-range shots. And the other one being against Borough, definitely got in his locker if you give him time and space. He's come into his confidence now under Sheehan, hasn't he? Definitely. Under Williams, I think him and Ronald looked a shell of what they are right now. Even Ronald, you'll always have mistakes in him. His crossing's not superb.
We'll reserve the Ronald talk for Lee now.
But point being, they're both playing with a bit more freedom. They understand it's okay if they make mistakes, and what that means is their high risk involvement is leading to good opportunities for us, whether that's shots from themselves or by setting someone else up. And that can only be good now, as we'll talk about Inuso, we've signed on the wing. Feels like the perfect player for Sheehan to help develop as well, based off how we've seen Ronald and develop in the few months he's been here.
Yeah.
So I'm at a 7.2 rating, and Ronald at a 7.8 rating on the SofaScore, Lee. So what do you think of that?
I don't know if you want me to rant about Ronald, but I might leave that for another day when we do the season review. But no, I think in particular, I think it's just been an absolute totally different player under Sheehan. Because he didn't score a goal, did he, before? And he's got 3 now in 13 games under Sheehan. Is it 13 games Sheehan had? He scored 3 goals, 1 assist. So he's been a totally different player since Sheehan's come in. I think, as you know, I've been critical all season of our kind of front individual players. I would say Ronald, has probably been the only one that's kind of started low and improved a lot as the season's gone on. So I'm excited to see what he can do next season. Hopefully he goes in with confidence now, because that goal he scored on Saturday was lovely. Really good goal.
Yeah, I think Sheehan had 12 games. 12, was it?
I thought it was 13. Mind, I read 24 and 39 points.
I'll check. No. What was Ronald's goal like?
He took it well, to be fair. Timon again whipped into the back post. It was side foot first time running onto it from Ronald, sort of one he'd usually sky, to be honest. But he
was about 4 yards out.
Still, point stance, he'd usually sky it.
And the chance he had before that, where he's 1-on-1 with the keeper and it's wide, was absolutely criminal.
It was offside, that, luckily.
Luckily for him, it was offside because that
Yeah.
was just horrendous. But
No, it was 3-3. It could have been 4-4. Is the truth of it. There were chances at both ends, excluding the goals that went in. It was one of those sort of games. I think Lee, you predicted 2-2, as we'll get to, said it'd be a crazy game. It was even crazier than even you thought it would be. They do get chucked up like that on the last day of the season. Sometimes you get weird losses. Cardiff being another one. Was it? I want to say 4-1. They had a red card in the first half. When there's dead rubber games, when some people are on the beach, it does happen.
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen during those type of games.
Sorry, it was. You were right. It was 13. Within that, 3 losses, 3 draws. The rest were wins, so 7 wins.
It's top 6
7
form.
wins, 3 draws, 17 goals in that time as well, in 13 games. It's not bad.
Yeah, definitely top 6 form. It used to be not far off automatics, but what we've seen happen now is some 2 or 3 of the teams that come down, they usually just exceed that. Like Leeds and Burnley have both hit 100-point seasons this year. It's just bizarre.
It's
like, for context, 2 points a game puts you on 92.
Yeah, it's crazy. That is crazy. Both teams to finish on 100 points is a lot of points for 2 teams to take off the rest of the league, isn't it? It's just crazy.
Was Sheffield United third with, were they 92?
They were on 90 odd, weren't they? Yeah, it's just.
They were on 90, but they had a 2-point deduction. So effectively 92 if you didn't have the points deduction. So 2 points a game, and they were still 8 points adrift of automatics.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
20, even with the points deduction, 24-point gap to 7th. So, yeah.
So a bit of a cameo again from Ben Lloyd in this one. I mean, probably nothing to speak about, but nice to see him getting on the pitch. Sam Parker coming on as well. Anything notable from them two? Obviously, just mentioning them as the 2 youngsters kind of making an appearance.
Well, Ben Lloyd came straight on, and he had an early ball across the face of the goal, which didn't quite meet his target. I mean, like you said, I don't think any of them really had many touches on the ball. Parker's one. When he's come on, he hasn't quite impacted games like we saw him the first time before he had that bad injury. I know he was only played a few games before the injury, but I think he probably needs to start somewhere to progress a bit more, if not alone. But do we have the depth, I suppose? Because you look at the bench and there isn't tons there. And we're losing some players now.
We're desperate for players in that area, and we'll come on to it, but which is why we needed that signing, which is really exciting.
Looking at Oxford, before I talk a little bit more about some other things with the Swans. Former players scoring against us then. Plaheta, what sort of reception did he get with his goal? I thought it was quite decent, actually, to be fair.
Well, he apologised, didn't he? And then he got some applause.
Was it that he was getting booed and then he apologised and then he started getting cheered?
No, he half celebrated in front of the away end and then turned to the east stand and then put his hands up just to say sorry and then got applause. I don't think people booed him. If they did, very few people did.
Yeah. Again, I to be fair, I don't think they booed him because I in the stadium I didn't realise it was him that scored. It was only afterwards when someone made a good point that it was like Plaketa played like a handful of games for us on loan.
10, I want to say.
Like hardly anything, and he didn't celebrate. And then you've got players like Perot and Dan James who we kind of made celebrating like mad against us. And I was like, I didn't realise it was Plaketa. But it was true.
3 goals, 3 assists all season, one of them coming against us. You can't write it, can you?
Mark Harris came on as well, didn't he? But he didn't get the same reception.
He scored more goals than Ronald then.
Who knows?
Plaheta.
Yeah, he looked more deadly in front of goals than Ronald. Ronald scored 3 in the league now. In a year and a half.
I want to... Has he only had 3? Well, in all competitions, or just the league, you mean, Lee?
League. He scored them 2 at Sunderland.
2 league
last year. And he scored 1.
That's all he ended on was 2. Oh, yeah, he did 7 assists, but yeah, 2. One of them come in last game. Yeah. Goal threat from out wide.
Obviously, 2 league goals this year.
Yeah, 1 in the cup.
Okay, so 4 overall then.
Yeah. 7 assists, though, boys. Look on the positive.
Lee can review him in the next episode.
I could do a whole episode on it.
Well, you can if you want. I can release it as its own thing if you want. I can just put the camera up. You can talk to us about Ronald, and then we'll release it. See what
There we
everyone
go.
else says. Okay. Obviously, in this game, Joe Allen started. He got subbed off for Carl Naughton. Both of them playing their last game in a Swans shirt. Anything of note from either of those before they hung up their boots for us?
Just two great servants of the club. It's quite sad to see them both go. Really, I fully expected them to just keep getting another 1 year for another 20 years. It just seemed like it was just going to roll on.
They did both
forever.
get offered one, but I
They
think
did. They both got offered one.
Yeah.
No, fair enough. I was quite surprised. I just fully expected them to just roll on again for another year at least.
I don't know what terms they are. Like Joe Allen was talking about it, wasn't he? And he basically made his mind up back in January, February. He said he was already talking to Luke Williams about it. So, and I think he mentions the fact that when he got sacked was kind of like final nail in the coffin sort of thing to say it was time. He said he really got on with him and really liked working under him in his interview. Which I am surprised though, because didn't he come out of international retirement not so long ago?
Maybe he thought I'm retiring this year now anyway. The point of retiring from Wales was to preserve my body for my club career. May as well go out for both of them at the same time. That's a dream, to be fair, to go out for both at the same time. You'd hate to not be able to play for your country anymore and then drop down the leagues. Because in normal circumstances, if you're playing for England, Spain, France, how often do you get to retire for both at the same time? You basically get exiled from your country before you call a time on your club career, don't you?
Yeah. Okay, so Joe Allen, 77 caps for Wales, played at 3 major tournaments. Obviously, he played for Liverpool and Stoke as well in between his 2 spells at Swansea. He was named in the Euro 2016 team of the tournament. I didn't know that.
Did you? No.
I probably did know that, but it's nearly 10 years ago now. To be fair,
I mean, that's what scuppered his move to the Swans.
Of course it was. Yeah, because we had the deal, and then they tried. They upped the because Jenkins didn't want to see it over the line.
Yeah, it's mad to think because he would have. Yeah, because he was, by all accounts, he was going to come back to us, wasn't he, instead of Stoke?
Mm-hmm.
So he wouldn't have had Stoke in the middle of it. It just would have been Swans, Liverpool, and then back to the Swans.
I think what it was we had 8 million agreed in principle. Joe Allen said, I don't want the distraction now, because at the time that was first major tournament for Wales in decades and decades. Went away, obviously, just ran the show. Came back. Liverpool said now we want 10. Swan said no, and then Stoke came in with 13.
It's not even much money, is it? In the grand scheme of things, you go and pay 16 million for Sam Clucas a few years later.
15.5 for Baston, 12 for Boney. Just don't. We've done this conversation too many times.
It would have been nice for him to come back. But he did anyway. It was nice that he did actually come back.
But that was prime Joe Allen.
Yeah, that would have been great if he came back at that time as well. It's mad that he would obviously wanted to come back as well. I again, you hear all sorts of rumors, but I remember at the time, through the grapevine, people saying that he was here looking.
He was in Mumbles, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was here. He was already back looking for houses, and he probably already got a house around here anyway. But I mean, kind of getting ready to move his life back here. And then it kind of all fell through. So,
yeah,
it'd be nice to see him play in the Prem again. Or was that was when we were down? Was it we were down by then? Or
no, we were up because it was going to be him 16. Coming back. Brendan Rodgers was agreed to come back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that could have been the difference, mind.
For me, that's where I started. That and then Monk wasn't too long. I'm trying to remember. Was it after?
This is after Monk.
It was after Monk. Yeah, but that was a potential solution, even if it felt like taking a step back.
This is the summer where we then extended Guizelin, isn't it?
Yeah. I just struggle to see us falling apart from our identity if we had Joe Allen in midfield and Brendan Rodgers as manager. But yeah.
There we go.
I mean,
but testament to Joe Allen, because I mean, what a player. Everywhere he's been.
And Kyle Naughton is technically for me equally as sad, because obviously Joe Allen was with us in the Prem, but only for a little bit. Now that Naughton's gone, who was there right the way through, all we've got left is Fulton. And Fulton, you can argue, he did feature in the Prem a bit under Bob Bradley, but he wasn't really, there very much, was he? So Naughton, for me, was who we had left.
Yeah.
That's that sort of era just gone in my eyes now.
I'm trying to see. So what's that? Anyone good at quick maths? 127 appearances for the Swans in his first stint and 69 in his second. He
196.
scored 11 goals. And then I just wanted to. I'm sure Carl Naughton's played more games for us.
Well, Naughton just had his 300th.
300, yeah, 300
Yeah.
games, 5 goals. So people want to say Joe Allen because he's, I guess, because he came from our academy. You're always going to have that extra, but 300 games for our Swans is it's got to be up there for recent.
It's
times.
amazing that a player stays for a club for that long, especially when
10
he's not
years.
like, he's not like, he's not from Swansea as well. So to like come into a club and again to Naughton as well, like we say about like Fulton being a scapegoat. Now there was a time when Naughton was the biggest scapegoat, wasn't he? Like he was almost hated by some fans. So the fact that then he came down with us and then he stabilised us in the championship, didn't he? I mean, he's been brilliant for us since
Because he was ready to go as soon as he came down. And I think he was looking to go, to be honest. He didn't have a Premier League suitor, so he stuck around. And then, to be honest, I agree with you. If you look at that team that did come down, he probably wasn't the first player expected to like stay for what's it been like 6 years.
I can tell you,
years.
He was never leaving. He was not interested in leaving, even when we got relegated.
Is it?
Yeah. He's not. He's just been comfortable, like not interested in uprooting his family, his life. That's why he's been hoping the last few years, like getting an extra year. Nearly had a bit of a not falling out, but it didn't end very well with Russell Martin because Martin was saying one thing in the media, but behind closed doors to him, complete opposite.
He was gone under Russell Martin, wasn't he? But then Martin,
that's what I mean. So in the media,
back.
He was saying like, "I'd love to keep him. He's such a good player, this, that, the other," but told no one like, my plans. So, and he just sat there and like got on with it. As soon as Martin went, he had a new deal like instantly.
Which is strange because he was quite important in that time as well. Like
Well,
he was in the middle of the centre backs and
and then he had a bad spell. He got into that bad spell, and then he just never played him again. Like, even though all through that bad spell he wasn't there.
I mean, Martin's system when he was like wing backs galore, maybe didn't trust him at centre back enough because they were being left 1v1 to defend a lot. I'm not saying the way
in
they
the middle
treated
after
him was...
they had no one for so long. He had Naughton there in the middle.
I'm not saying the way he treated him. Not saying the way he treated him was right. I'm just trying to picture Russell Martin's point of view, transfers wise. Kyle Naughton for me probably doesn't quite have the pace you need to be a Russell Martin centre back.
No, maybe not. But who did go there? Who did we put there?
Oh, I'm not saying we had the players at the time, but maybe he's thinking, right, we need to go out and sign someone else.
Oh, I'm just on about why he's dropped him rather than why he didn't offer him a
I
new
don't
deal.
know. I mean, they had Wood,
I get why he didn't offer him a
they had
deal.
Cabango, didn't they, when they were at their strongest? Cabango in the middle with Wood and Darling either side.
Wood was playing on the wing as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But, like, I think, again, like, it's fair play to Naughton. I think if you've got a player like that can come in and just do a job at this level in almost any position. I remember when we first came down, I remember him playing, I remember Potter played him in, like, midfield for a while.
Centre mid, yeah.
And he scored a belter against Millwall away from midfield.
Yeah.
And then he's played like full back, right back, middle of the centre back, middle of a three, dictating play. So I think it's just like what a player to have in your arsenal. I think, like you said, the Swans offered him another year. I think I would have happily given him another year because you can always fill in a gap. I mean, you're not going to get 90 minutes Saturday, Tuesday out of him. But when you have that stopgap where someone's injured or suspended and you need someone to come in and do the job, same with Alan, they were perfect at doing that. And they could do it at a good level as well. So
yeah,
it's going to be a big miss, I think. I think, like, although we didn't see a lot of them this season, I think the minutes probably were a lot lower this year for both of them. I think it's going to be a big miss because now that's 2 holes you've got to fill.
Sad they're retiring because based off the last game for Alan and based off the second half of the season for Naughton, they can both still do it.
No one hasn't decided yet.
Yeah, but
I've
seemingly he's going to retire.
I've got I got family that know him. He said he still hasn't made up his mind.
I mean, the first one I called was Wrexham because he's from up north. Wrexham, I know, isn't quite as north as
he's from Sheffield. He is.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of family, so he might go somewhere there. I don't know if it'd be Wrexham. I think he doesn't want to play in a club where he's not going to play.
Yeah, he's not helped. The two Sheffield clubs are quite good at the minute.
So I think it would be a case of like, he knows he'd need to drop down to perhaps play more regular, but then also can your body do it? And do I want to drop down? I think is the conversation. And then he's not 100% if he wants to like stay in football or not. He just
That's fair. Hull
just
would have
don't
been
know.
ideal.
But
if
he
they
said
went up.
that. He said that to my uncle like quite consistently over the last few years about badges. Like he just doesn't know if he wants to do it or not. Because he keeps asking like, "Oh, you can stay in the club, like go to the youth or whatever, sort them out with the coaching." Yeah, it says on the Swans website, Alan made 230 appearances, so something is wrong. Wikipedia probably, but unless it's like all competition sort of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas, what about the Carl Naughton stat then? The 300, was that 300 league appearances? Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, I want to say
He made 329. So Carl Naughton 329 altogether. We looked at the all-time list for Mac Rhymes not so long ago. What was that? Like 400?
I want to say it was like 460, was it?
So how many? Has Naughton played more games than Grimes then? Because we've bigging that up.
Yeah, he must have. Because he was there for the 3 years in the Prem as well.
Yeah, he must have. Yeah, surely.
So we were saying how close he was getting on the list for me.
Well, he weren't close, was he? But we were saying if he was here for 6 years, which at the time
305 in the league. So maybe
Grimes
another
305 in the league.
Be quite close when they were with other competitions. But we haven't had any notable cup runs other than the one under Graham Potter, have we really?
No.
So probably isn't higher than Naughton.
What do you say? Grimes 305 in the league. Naughton's Naughton's 300.
Yeah, but Naughton's 329 altogether. I'm not sure whether Grimes would go up above that based on the only extra competitions we play in the championship is cup competition.
I think is this distorted a bit though, because if you think like the last like 3 seasons, Naughton was kind of bit part, wasn't he? And Grimes every season played.
I know that, but I'm just saying in regards to us bigging up Grimes a couple of weeks ago to say like before he left, of course, when we were saying how he was on track to get this record, I just find it quite funny that Naughton's probably finished higher on the list.
But I think like you can regard
it's 330 it is because this doesn't include the Oxford game.
Yeah, I think like we were talking about like we were saying like Grimes was kind of on course to be a club legend, and then like when in the next few videos he was gone. But I think like you can easily label Joe Allen and Naughton.
I think both of them are. I would feel. 100%. I think Ben just said 333 for Mac.
Yeah, so Grimes got more, only by 4 games.
3 more games.
Yeah.
I think by what they've done as well, like for the I think like if you want to talk about like lasting memories, I think Naughton's goal at Sunderland away when we needed a win. He scored an absolute screamer that was in the Prem, and we needed a win to stay up. And he scored an absolute belter. And then
Sunderland, yeah.
They've labelled the clearance against Cardiff here when he had his hamstring injury last year.
That was brilliant. Then he went off, and then I'm trying to think. The goal against Millwall sticks in my head as well. The one where he just turns on the edge of the box in midfield and it's a bottom corner. Lovely goal. And then Joe Allen, I guess, obviously the Cardiff goal in Indian Park, which should have been a winner.
Great, great. I know a lot of people have labelled Naughton very technical, but Graham Potter actually called him the most gifted player in the squad when he was here.
Above Selena. I'm trying to think of people who were there.
I do think though, when you watch Naughton play, especially now he's older as well. Yeah. I do think you see it. Like he's. What was the game? There was a game. One of Sheehan's early games where him and Allen played like splitting balls through the middle. Naughton played one from centre back up to Vapotnik, who was running through and goal. But that just shows the quality that he has.
Right. That was I do remember the game. I remember that happening actually.
You do see it. You're right. Like the game seems to move slower for him.
Was it Watford? Away, maybe. I don't know.
It's like he picks up the ball, just like even like little body feints. He just finds himself an extra bit of space, an extra bit of time where other people would maybe panic a bit more on the ball. And like you say, there were games, I think particularly under Luke Williams, to be honest, where we looked hopeless. Like nothing was happening, but anything good, anything where like you say, midfield splitting balls or just forward passes, a lot of it was coming from Naughton. So
this is what I was trying to say about Naughton. They've actually wrote it in his little thing, saying about Joe Allen, who confirmed he will retire. Then they say Naughton has always preferred to forgo the spotlight and is typically I don't know, self-effacing? I've never read
You'd
that
have to
word in my
share the
life.
screen. I can't see.
And humble when assessing his own career. Maybe he just won't
Yeah.
like come out and say it. You know what I mean? And you just won't play again. But
He was like
Yeah.
visibly upset as well, Naughton, after the
Yeah.
game when he
Was
had
he?
his like guard of honor. Yeah, he did. He was quite upset. So I think you're right. I think that kind of sums him up. He's always been kind of quiet, doesn't he? Never
Yeah.
like I know
He
it's
proper
difficult.
looks after his
Same with
family.
Joe
Like,
Allen
which
as
is
well.
nice.
But Joe Allen as well seems quite like even I think like he was even not uncomfortable, but not used to that kind of like limelight when it was all on like him at the end of the game, and just they're not kind of used to that limelight. So it's just two massive holes to fill, like quality wise and stature wise, just around the club. So it's just going to be different now.
I think that
And-
impact's probably bigger behind the scenes in it than on the pitch
Yeah.
these days, and that's irreplaceable. Sorry, Ben.
I was going to say budget as well. I know minutes wise they didn't have as much of a contribution recently, but you can tell their wages aren't going to be very much at all compared to what a championship player will typically go for if they're like a first team footballer.
Yeah, and it's difficult to sell. Like I mean, I added up earlier how many minutes did Naughton play this year. It was 827 minutes he's had, which is
About
9 starts he's had. He's had 9 starts, the rest were from the bench. I mean, how are you going to bring someone in and say, you're only going to have 9 starts? You're not going to find many players that will be satisfied with that level of game time and at the quality that Naughton had.
That's someone you want coming from the youth in there, really. But don't know who that would be. I'm just glad, to be honest, because when we were in the doldrums of the Premier League, he was getting so much stick, especially that last season. He was such a scapegoat for us.
Yeah.
I defended him a lot back then. Obviously, we didn't have the podcast back then, but the stats just did not add up to the scapegoat nature that he was getting. If I remember that last season we got relegated in the Premier League, he was something ridiculous, like in the top 3 in the league for things like interceptions, tackles on the ground, stuff like that. But for some reason, Swans fans were like, he's always out of position. He doesn't know where to be. He's just rubbish. All this. It's like all those things probably more of a team thing, where like we're just getting caught.
Yeah.
We were a bad team at that point, yeah. And I felt so bad for him, but I'm just glad after we got relegated. I'm glad that he kind of come out with that, and I think the opinion on him has completely shifted, and he's a lot more respected now for everything he's done since we got to the Championship. And I think he's shown in the Championship, as he's got on, he's probably ended up in the correct level. But I think he's shown at times in the Championship, he's probably a little bit of a cut above the league and quite capable of playing like Premier League mid to lower table. And that was his level when we had him, and when we got him, I guess. And we've probably been in the lucky position that we're only going to lose him as he's getting older. So the impact has been gradual that we've lost a player like that. But yeah, I think he will definitely be missed. I didn't realize as well that he played in the season we finished 8th, which was obviously the highest, not ever, but highest since he was branded the Prem.
It was fine for us. I think, like you said, when he was at the end of our like Premiership run, a struggling team, like a fullback and a struggling team in the Premier League, it's just not a place you want to be, is it? I mean, you're always going to kind of look worse.
You get bad luck in those situations then when you're always like up against it, and but the stats were there. Like he was the top performing defender for us in the team. I don't really know why you just kept getting scapegoated. I couldn't understand it at the time, but that's what happens, I guess. We've got another one now who we've talked about enough, but
yeah,
crazy. The one thing I want to end on with that though, what's happened to testimonials? Like, do they just not exist anymore? Like,
people just don't turn up for them. So it's almost more embarrassing then, isn't it, when you're meant to be there to like honour the player? And it's been a while, I think, since they were even a thing now, to be honest.
But some clubs do. We're playing in one in the summer. I think it's
less. I think it's less like frequent now because don't you have to be at a club for 10 years or something?
Yeah, but this is my point.
That doesn't happen anymore.
No, but Joe Allen wouldn't have one, but Kyle Naughton's been here for 10 years.
Yeah, isn't Exeter a pre-season game though?
But it's a testimonial. It was when it was announced the day. He was labelled a testimonial. Yeah.
Yeah, it was testimonial for an Exeter player. I can't remember who it was, but I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
they also lined that up to be a testimonial for Grimes against Exeter. And now he's not going to be. And now he's
Yeah,
not
but
going to
you
be.
can't be. You can't have testimony when you haven't left.
No,
Was
but it
the
would have
ex-
been 10 years, wouldn't it?
Probably. I think Grimes and Naughton might have come in the same window, did they?
Yeah, so I think like that was probably lined up as a testimonial for that Exeter player and Grimes as well. Obviously coming.
P.S. Sweeney.
There we go. I think like it's just the way football is now. It's very, very rare you're going to get a player that's there for 10 years. We might never have it again.
We do always play Exeter in pre-season, though, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
We always play Exeter. We always play Bristol Rovers.
Plymouth.
Yeah, it's probably
Usually,
why
when we're not in the same league.
It's probably why it's us in the testimonial. But I just feel like everything you said is spot on. But surely that's more of a reason to make a big deal about it. So, like, does he not deserve that?
Well, maybe players don't. Well, yeah, he definitely deserves it, 100%. But maybe he doesn't want
as well. I don't know if I'm making this up. You know,
Fulton's been longer. He's 11 years.
You know, back when footballers didn't really earn as much, didn't they like give all the money from the gate to the player as like a retirement gift?
I think you're right. Yeah, you're right.
So like United say, I think I remember Paul Scholes one, and they may have got like 40k. All the money went to Scholes. But think back when like I don't know the 80s and they were on like pennies.
Yeah.
If you gave all of an entire stadium's attendance worth of people to the player. And also, I think back then people would be more willing to do it if they knew it was all going to the player then.
Yeah, it's a good shout. I think as well, like the send off they had like after the game. Like I mean, Alan leading the team out and then coming off for Naughton, and then at the end of the game they had like a guard of honor from all the squad and that, and from the fans. I think that's perfect, really.
Cool. Well, let's move on then. So we'll do a little game now. So we're going to call this "Welcome to the new segment, Lee versus Ben." So I kind of alluded to this earlier on. Let me just jot down the time. 42 minutes, right? That's just for me to like snip it out later. The rules of the game. I'm going to set some sort of challenge. It's not like they're going out and about and doing stuff, but some sort of challenge every podcast. And they're not going to confer. They're going to go about it their own way, come back with their answers, and now going to discuss them. And then I want everyone in the comments, whether that's listening here on Spotify, you should be able to comment on Spotify, I think. Or in some sort of like rating for the episode. But otherwise, go to YouTube or go to Twitter, TikTok, or Facebook. I'll probably post it on over those places. And I'll just have a read through what people have said to gauge who the winner is. So this week, the topic was, and I might paraphrase this from what I put it, but basically it's what it was. I needed them to pick their 5 pints or 5 drinks that they would have on tap, basically, at the Swansea.com stadium if they had full control over that. So they are, the what's the word? The catering manager for the Swansea.com stadium, and they're picking the 5 drinks on tap. They don't have to be beers. They could be like ciders or stouts or ales, whatever they want. It's the 5 drinks on tap, and they're going to say they're 5, and I just want everyone to tell me which one is the best lineup, essentially. And there's a bonus point available because I went out and I bought a beer to have with my episode, which is in my glass, but I'm not going to show the bottle until the end. If one of them in their lineup has the beer that I've bought, they're going to have a bonus point. So basically the winner of the round will get a point, and then we'll just see. I don't know when it's going to end. We'll just see how it goes. So it'll be a bit of fun.
Are we going
to go first?
Well, out of our lineup, are we going like our favorite ones to the?
You can disclose if you want your favorite.
Yeah,
but
I'm going to favorite. I don't want to say least favorite because I'm obviously 5 favorite beers, but yeah, first one's gonna be my most favorite one of them all. Curveball.
So the one you say first or the one you say last?
We'll mix it up. I'll go last. Build up to it.
So who's going first? Do you want to I'll flip a coin. Lee, heads or tails?
Heads.
Tails never fails for Wales.
Well, that was a disaster.
Heads, yeah.
Heads, yeah.
I don't know if the camera can see, but that's a heads. So first or second, Lee?
I'll defer to Ben.
Right, Ben's going first, right? This is Ben's 5 dream pint lineup at the Swansea.com stadium. So if you can let us know what that is.
Right, well in 5th, go in Estrella. So
okay.
There's a reason for every single beer on this right? Estrella, for me, that's got to be a premium one. It's going to come at a cost. You got to import it. It's not you don't see Estrella on tap in the UK very much, but premium pint when you go abroad. If you've ever been in an all-inclusive, boys, and Estrella's on tap in the hotel, your hotel, your holiday
San
is just
Miguel.
your holiday's made for you before it's even started, isn't it?
This is
don't need to say much more than that.
It's a personal choice, anyway. Safe space. You have whatever you want.
Oh, it doesn't look like there's any sort of like agreement there, but we'll come to these in a bit. What's the next one then, Ben?
Oh, all me at once, is it? Right, next one, Cruz Campo.
Yeah, because they need to hear the 5 to make a decision.
Yeah.
So we've got Estrella.
Yeah, Estrella first. Next one, Cruz Campo. Purely because, right, I'm not usually one for like IPAs. This is like me, what's the word I'm looking for? Like trying to make a compromise. It's got a slightly fruity aroma to a Cruz Campo, isn't it? Still smooth to drink, but not like, Bristol Night Out IPA where all of it's undrinkable. It's like that happy medium. So it's like an alternative for the fruity beer lovers.
Why specifically Bristol Night Out?
It's bad experience. Bad experience. You can't just get a normal pint unless you're in a Spoons in Bristol.
You got cider in Bristol, didn't you?
Well, I don't like cider. So all of these are beers. I'll just say that right now.
Well, you two got something.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
That's poor. That is. You should have been all inclusive. One option at least. Like I'm a cider drinker. Why have you not thought of me?
Because this is my favorite beers.
The option is Thatcher's, right? That's the answer. Anyway, carry on. So we got, what was it? Cruz Campo.
I like a Cruz Campo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next one, Cause. Now hear me out. It's a bland beer.
Oh,
no, it's a bland beer. But you've got to have an option on there at 4% for those people who just want like a lighter beer. You don't want to go as far as Bud Light because that just tastes like water. Cause to me, it's one of those 4% ones. You got Cause, you got Carlin, you got Foster's maybe, you got Carlsberg. Carlsberg, I don't mind.
Let's not talk about Carlsberg after QPR.
£1.50 for a can of Carlsberg is what I paid at QPR. If that's what you're wondering.
Yeah,
that's what Luke's about. But no, Cause for me, it's a safe pint. I can't ever remember having a Cause and not liking it. That's my reasoning for why it's on there.
Okay, what's the next?
That's fair.
Next one, Bear Moretti. This is like
I like that one.
It's medium option. It's not 4%. It's not like a Peroni level of like 5%, but it's a 4.6% beer. Again, it's a constantly good beer. Like I've only ever had one bad pint of Bear Moretti. Again, Bristol Airport, £8.
Coming up Bristol, aren't you? Jesus.
No, the gas and the pump and I don't know if it would run out or something, but it's a flat Bear Moretti. Apart from that, you're never going to have a bad Bear Moretti in your life. So at stadium prices are somewhat reasonable compared to like Millennium Stadium and all that. So it'd be £5 odd. Yeah, Bear Moretti.
Okay, what's the last one? Which is your favourite? Yeah.
Do you even know this one? I don't know. FS, the Turkish one.
Yeah.
Oh, FS Turkish beer. Yeah.
That's what I had on tap the last time I went all abroad, all inclusive.
On tap, right? That you're a lucky man. I've only had it on tap once in my life, right? To this day, best pint I've had in my life. Don't know whether it's you're in one of those restaurants outside, it's blazing hot. You've got like the watery mist being shot on you. There was an ice cold glass, well, like proper frosted glass. Best pint I've had in my life to this day. So if that was on tap at the SwanCom, I would be.
It wasn't the hot day like swaying your decision here because you were so desperate for that drink.
No. Because we were having it in bottle and it's so nice in bottle, but. It's gotta be. That's still the nicest pint I've had poured in my life.
Can you run through your 5 again?
So Estrella, Cruz Campo, Cause, Bear Moretti, FS. And I'll just say this now, right? I do like a Guinness, but in the Swansea.com stadium, everything's in a plastic glass or cup, whatever you want to call it. Guinness just does not. I don't like anything out of a plastic cup, but Guinness especially just plastic ruins it.
Well, that's some thought. It's thought process.
Yeah,
there,
so it's been omitted from this list because of what it's served in.
Justifications. I'm not going to reveal my pint yet, but Lee, do you want to tell us what yours are?
Judging by what Ben has said, I think you're going to hate a lot of my beers because
it's not for me to decide, is it? It's everyone watching and listening.
And there might be a lot of people rolling their eyes, but I love like pale ales and those type of beers. I love all the different types. So that's me all over. And my beer choices have quite like. I've got like a list for every scenario. So these are not necessarily all my favorite beers, but they would be what I want in the football stadium. My beers, what I want on holiday would be different. My balcony beers would be different to my football beers. So I've thought about this a lot. I've had this to the point where we like did a beer.
I only asked them last night, by the way. So he's only had the day to think about this.
I think about this a lot, right? I haven't got a problem or anything, but I do think about this a lot. So These would be my 5 choices for stadium beers. Holiday beers would be different, but anyway, we'll go. Yeah, we'll go back to front like Ben did. So I'd like to see some more local beers in there rather than having something. I'd like to see some local ones. So I'd like to see maybe like a Gower Gold, which is quite nice.
I think,
Gower
fair
Brewery.
enough. I like the reason in there.
I
Support local and all that.
I do like a Gower Gold, so that would be in there. You can have Gower Power as well, but that's a bit
It
strong.
would
So
go
we'll go Gower
hand in
Gold.
hand with their local support of AU vodka, wouldn't they? So
Yeah, so I'd like to see that. And then also we've got like Tiny Rebel as well. It's also a Welsh brewery. So
yeah, but where's Tiny Rebel from?
Newport way.
Okay.
So, but I do like Tiny Rebel. So I wouldn't have a Club Tropica. I wouldn't have.
See, that's what I thought you were going to pick.
No, my favorite Tiny Rebel is Electric Boogaloo, so I'd have that in this. But it's a bit niche, my beer choices, but I definitely have those two to have two kind of like Welsh beers in there.
The people watching, they might be niche as well. Who knows?
Now, this one I wouldn't choose everywhere. Again, this is where it's specific to a football game. This tends to be what I drink before the game. And I would have a Star of Pramen in there. I love a Star of Pramen on football.
Where'd you drink that then?
I know. Well, I normally go to the Lando Social Club before the game, and they do an absolute stunning pint of Star of Pramen. It's lovely, and then you get to the stadium, and then the choices are horrendous. So, just for selfish reasons, I'd like to just carry on drinking Star of Pramen into the stadium. So that would be nice. I'm sure they used to have it in the bar in East Stand for a while. Star of Pramen. I don't know. I might be wrong, but I'm sure they had it for a while, but they don't anymore. Yeah, so I definitely have Star of Pramen. I definitely have Guinness. But it has to be not in a can, which is what they do now. So there'd have to be a Guinness in there, like for the winter when we've got like a Tuesday night game in December and January. Just have a nice Guinness at half time. And then my favourite beer of all time, which has to be in every lineup, is a Camden Pale Ale. It's my favourite, number one.
I've heard other people enjoy that one, to be fair.
It's my number one beer.
Two Camden points, if I may. First of all, Guinness. As I said, plastic glass, but also the speed of pouring it. That's got to be an issue, especially at halftime.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The correct way of pouring, you pour it.
But to be fair, if they did the screens with the pre-ordering system properly, they could pre-order all the Guinness.
This is another.
Have it already.
We needed to talk about this like separately, but in the Oxford game, obviously there was more fans there than probably had been all season, and I went down at like 42 minutes, and the queue was like up to the back wall, and the queue for the screens were up to the back wall, and people were still queuing for just the ticket machine when the second half kicked off. It's that system is the worst. It's just appalling. It's got to change.
But maybe that's one we should raise in the fans forum if we go.
Oh, it's awful.
Anyway, back on topic before we move on.
I have to get that in.
Lee, can you round up your 5, please?
Yes. So I would have a Tiny Rebel, Electric Boogaloo, and then Gower Gold, Star of Pramen, Guinness, and Camden Pale Ale.
And Ben?
Estrella, Cruz Campo, Coors, Bill Moretti, FS. I think I smashed him there, I can't lie.
There you have it. There's your lineups. Comment below Lee or Ben. You could just say their name, or if you want to elaborate on their disgusting decision making, please do. And
I can't believe the hit for some nice pale ales. Bristol's great for beer.
Can you both message me in our group? Those spelt correctly, preferably, and I'll make a graphic at some point this week as well to go along with the clip. And we'll see who wins. We'll see who wins. I
would like to point out, though, we are on the same page. Me and Lee, Madry and Carlin need to get booted out of that stadium pronto.
I'll be a choice.
Yeah, but they're clearly using the same brewery, aren't they? So what other options are there?
That's not my job description.
Cold Riverside is one of them.
It's Madry.
Oh, you mean what's there right now?
Yeah.
I thought you meant like
alcohol-free Cobra.
Well, they've got Cobra in the stadium.
That's the only alcohol-free choice on the screen is Cobra.
Well, we're going to sell like a tikka masala or something.
That's the only alcohol-free choice.
I've only ever seen Cobra, literally,
and it's in
an Indian.
Yeah.
I cannot spend £5 odd on an alcohol-free beer. I like alcohol-free beer, but they should be cheaper. And also, most of the time, you can't get it on tap. No Sign Wine Bar, you get Heineken free alcohol.
Yeah, the Heineken on tap is all right.
Alcohol-free Heineken on tap, and it's lovely. It tastes exactly the same.
Yeah, it's all right, yeah.
Do you want to know something funny?
What's that?
You just... That's why Cobra is made by this. So Cobra's not Indian.
No, it's
You do
not.
find
But you
it
tend to get it
Indian,
in Indians.
It's in the same place as Madri and
There we go. There we go then.
yeah, but do you know what else is there? Coors.
I thought Coors was Canadian.
Yeah, Molson
No, it's
Coors
Molson
Beverage
Coors, isn't
Company
it?
is a Canadian-American multinational drink company.
Oh,
They are the ones that brew Madri as well.
Yeah, but I think
Coors
like
is Molson, though.
Madri and Carlin are probably brewed here.
Yeah,
aren't
so
they?
they're brewed here, but the umbrella at the top of that.
Yeah. Either way,
hang on.
Madri's in the bin. Get rid of it.
Is that Camden Pale Ale? I see.
No, Camden's its own brewery.
I'm joking.
Yeah, I know. There's no way.
Let me pull this up. You can see.
I think
can
like
try and-
if it was a different like I think Ben's probably wins this one. He might appeal to more people. My beer taste is a bit dodgy, but I think like if you're doing it from a neutral point of view, you probably got to have like a premium lager and then like a cheaper lager. You've got to have a cider, a Guinness, and I don't know, maybe someone else. But yeah, premium lager, cheap lager,
And you appeal
cider.
to people with the shots.
Right, so-
Yeah, then a short. Yeah,
yeah.
a
Here's
cider.
this is the European lineup. So yeah, Madri's there. Cobra, as you just mentioned, Cobra. To be fair, Coors isn't on the European lineup. Must be, I don't know, it's imported or something. Oh, Recorder Lake. I like that. It's a good site.
I'd rather a Coors be there than
Oh,
Madri.
what's that? Strap or Brabham?
Star Brahman.
It's a good beer. I like Star Brahman.
They are
I've had
from
it in Prague.
Ascot cider.
Tasted exactly the same. I can't lie. I went there thinking, oh, it's going to be banging here. The only difference was they had these massive like pint glasses that were like the ones with the handles and they were like round. And the head on the beer was just like a third of the glass every single time. The way they pour it's different.
See, this is what they do they've got those glasses in the Lando Social Club. They do a stunning Star Brahman in there. It's brilliant.
And they also
Video
own
next time I
Carlin,
go.
as I told you, they own Carlin. That's why everyone says Madri and Carlin are the same thing, because they are.
It just winds me up when people drink it thinking it's Spanish, Madri.
It's because of the guy with the hat on.
Well, yeah, it literally is called the beer of Madrid, to be fair. You go to Madrid, no one knows what it is. You can't even buy it in bottle form anywhere there. It's the biggest advertising scam. I don't know how they've got away with it.
Well, that's why I said this in a group, right? And I'm going to say I'm 90%. I'm not going to, because this is the internet and you get called out when people research properly. But obviously, Carling got dropped when they released the alcohol tariffs in the UK, whatever they are. The price per unit, was it? Is that what it was? There's some sort of tax on alcohol, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think
So
it's
they all
anything
lowered,
above like 4.6, right?
yeah, so they lowered Carlin to 4. So they had to change the recipe slightly for that to keep the price in. Because this Carlin's a budget beer, yeah? Is that a fair comment?
It
Yeah,
probably needs the beer apart from Bud Light.
So obviously
Gateway
it wouldn't
beer.
fit the brand in. Yeah, gateway beer. Madri was then released as to be marketed as a more premium one, which was basically Carlin's old recipe at a higher percentage. That's what's happened. Yeah. That's why everyone thinks they're the same beer.
And this is the type of discussion you get on a Swans podcast.
I mean, it came from. I think people like this
no,
though. We get comments all the time from people this stuff, so it's nice to have a little bit us detached. But anyway,
like I said, I could do a whole podcast on like beers.
Well, we go all summer.
Okay, we'll do balcony beers next.
Okay, beers. All right.
So if you're watching the Swans while you're on your all-inclusive holiday, what selection would you? Yeah. Well,
But
think about the
balcony
next
beers
topic
would be
next
different
time.
to your holiday beers. Balcony beers, different category altogether.
Ben's like, you've just opened a can of worms now. I got to think about this all over again.
Genuinely, how do balcony beers differ from holiday beers? Surely balcony beers are holiday beers.
We're talking about
when you go to the Hyperdino in like Tenerife, they're the ones you buy in Hyperdino, not the ones you have at the bar.
Yeah, it's different what you'd have by the pool to what you'd have on the balcony when you're waiting for the wife to get ready.
I think you've had too much beer in your life, Lee. I can't lie.
Lee said before we started the podcast, he's on a detox. So maybe you're right, Ben. Actually, maybe he thinks about this too much.
Well, we should the top 5. We should do top 5 like types of beers. And my number 1 is balcony beer.
I've never heard of that term
1.
in my life until you've just mentioned it.
Balcony beers. You know, you go on holiday and then, like, what I do is, I don't know, I bet not everyone else does this, but I race up to the room, like, because I know, like, Fran's going to kill me, but she takes a while to get ready. I'm not stereotyping, but she does take ages to get ready. I don't. So I run upstairs, straight in the shower, change straight away, straight on the balcony, open the beers I've put in the fridge the night before in the room, and I'll just sit there on the balcony as the sun's coming down, waiting to go out and have my nice like beers before we go out in the night then on holiday. Those are the best beers.
And
Bit of
when
music
you
on
go out-
maybe.
Is
And then
this
when you
when
go
you're
out
all
at night, do
inclusive
you
or
drink
not?
more
You're
beer
not
again?
inclusive. You're not all
Well,
inclusive. I
Well,
think.
both. Sometimes if you're all
I
inclusive or
see.
not.
I just go to the bar and get like 4 pints and just bring them up with me.
Well, you could do that, but then like
I
if
do
you're in
usually
like,
buy something for the fridge because you have different selections. And
I think like the last time I did that was like there was a supermarket across the road and it's like €1 for a bottle or a can or something. It's like you just pick up like 10 of them, put them in the fridge. They're nice and cold. Sun's coming down. You're putting the after sun on because I've burnt all day, and then you're having the balcony beers. So number one is balcony beer. That's the spoiler, but that's the best beers.
I don't think I've got more than 5 locations to drink.
Oh come on, you've got
How-
like balcony beers,
what's the
train
podcast
beers,
beer then?
I've
podcast
only
beer.
done that once.
That's what
Depends
it
on
was
time of the
isn't it?
year. Depends on time of the year. But now,
Oh,
if we were
yeah.
having I would say like a neck oil would be nice now.
Ah,
for a podcast
I
beer.
didn't say what my beer was. So who gets the bonus point, if anyone?
I don't think any of us got it. I can't
Do you
lie.
not? I'll show you
No.
what it is if you want. I got the bottle here. Brought it up for
Go
the
on.
bus.
It looks like Madry from here. Can't
Fist-
lie. Oh, come on!
there we go. It is.
Look at that.
Estrella.
You pulled it out of the back. I thought no one was going to
First-
get that.
First one I said as well.
I went to CK's on my way home and I was like, right, get one off the shelf here. It's cold. And that was the best option for price as well because it was on offer. So I was the last one there. So
Estrella
Ew.
for anyone who can't see the screen.
yeah, it was Estrella. For those listening, a large bottle of Estrella. That's more than a pint, is it? 600?
660, that looks, yeah.
660. Yeah. But it's decent, to be fair. I'm quite enjoying it. Lee didn't seem very impressed.
I don't
What do
mind.
you
I don't
have
mind.
against-
No,
Yeah.
I don't mind an Estrella. No, I don't.
What I would say though, Estrella,
Solid beer.
it's not the sort of beer that you can have like 6 of back to back for me. You have
Yeah,
like 1 or
yeah.
2 and you got to switch to a different one then.
Yeah.
Okay, let's end that there. That's enough beer talk.
That's quite
Thirsty
We
now.
need to finish the other bit of news we need to talk about before we call it a day.
And predictions.
And that is, and predictions. We'll do this first and then we'll do predictions. And that is Swansea have made a sign-in, like what, less than a week or just over a week after the season's finished, which, when was the last time that happened?
Never.
Someone want to
Rename
pronounce his name for me.
Zidane Anusa.
Zidane Anusa.
Or Zidane.
Yeah.
Zidane. We'll Anusa
can-
definitely. We'll get the first name sorted for next time.
So obviously a winger we've signed in from BK Hacken for an undisclosed fee that we don't actually really know. We don't know what that is really, do we? Other than speculation. at
Well,
this
we
point.
don't know
It's
for
very-
certain.
There's a lot of different speculations that make us not very confident that we can say what the fee is.
People keep saying £5 million, €6 million. I think people seem
Does that
to think-
include like installments and add-ons and stuff?
So Swans Independent said installments, I believe, of 500k for the first one. Then you'd assume that would be consistently spread across 5 years. That would be 2.5 mil. Then maybe potential add-ons make up the rest, potentially up to 5 mil based on like promotion. And I swear one of them said if we won a trophy, like major trophy, which seems a weird one.
Like promotion, does that count like playoffs
No,
or something?
like, well, obviously promotion would be one. A separate one would be major trophy.
They
but
probably
yeah, we
just
don't.
cut some stuff in to get some bonus money potentially in the
Yeah.
future, maybe. Like, you know, from their perspective, you could look at the last 20 years and we are on there. So
Yeah. So point
It
being, we
could
don't
be
know.
all going well. Yeah, all going well, and we get promoted and win a cup. Like we could end up paying
Yeah.
a couple of million, but yeah.
Yeah. So we don't know the exact amount is the truth of it. I did read, I don't know if it was Swans Independent again, 22% ish sell on clause, which is a lot,
That's
especially if you're already putting so much money down.
I mean,
high. I mean,
what are
they
his
must rate him.
credentials then? Are we excited about this one?
Yeah, 5-year deal. I mean, there were already a couple of articles. I can't quite remember the names. I want to say it was like Scout Football, Total Football, you know, like those sort of accounts that do just generic articles saying best players from each league. And he was already on a few of these articles, like flagged as being promising potential for, I'd butcher the name if I said it, the Swedish league, you know, Allsvenskan, whatever. Yeah, obviously seems to be someone who has a burst of speed. I think he actually blends, you've got Om's style of play where he sort of like stops the ball dead and then just sort of like, does body feints to create some space and dribble past players. You've got Ronald who does better at full speed. This guy seems to be able to like stop dead and then go at full speed and knock it past a man. It's like combines the best two sets of qualities from each of our current winners, I would say.
Okay. I think he's primarily left, isn't he? So more
Yeah.
competition for the left side.
Yeah.
We will obviously sign him when the transfer window opens on July the 1st. 22-year-old, as you said, 5-year deal. Comes from the Swedish league. Is that the same league we've got Vidal from in the end?
So Vidal's Swedish, but he came from the Danish league.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're clearly scouting in the same sort of areas that we out in Europe.
Yeah, it's quite exciting though. I think I love. We talked about it like in the summer last year, didn't we? We said the kind of sign young players and give them long deals seems to be the way that we're going. Like we've done the same with Franco and and they're like 4-year deals, and now this one's 5-year deal or 22-year-old. So
it's a big show of faith. I saw
quite,
someone
they
say
must.
It's to get our FFP down. Apparently, because we're struggling to get within it.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
The amortization out like over a longer period. It brings the overall amount per year down, but still, good show of faith. 5-year deal.
Yeah, I think it's quite exciting. I mean, I definitely think it's an area we needed to improve. Is like kind of attacking wingers. Like I said, has kind of improved at the end, but you've got like Sam Parker and Janelli as the alternatives. It's just not.
I feel like Janelli's not going to be here, is he, next season?
30 minutes in total this year. 3 appearances off the bench.
I think the injuries have just knackered him, to be honest. Yeah. We'll see. It doesn't look good for him, but I hope he can mount a comeback. But I just don't think it's looking great for him. I wouldn't be surprised if we see he goes on loan.
No, it's a shame because I think like he was showing glimpses of what he could do, but you can't carry a player like that. I mean, like he was on the bench for a couple of games, and then we need strength and depth. You can't have someone like.
But I guess if the option is him or Sam Parker, then you think there's more potential in Sam Parker. So probably, if you've got someone that's like nursing an injury back to full fitness, not quite really going to have enough to impact the game yet, and then you've got a youngster who could be.
No, but I think if you've got if you've got like say you've got Ronald and as the wingers, and then you've got Anusas come in, and then you go with like Sam Parker as the fourth choice, it's probably a good kind of winger.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we've still got Bianchini as well, right? So he's
he could also play on the wing. Yeah.
He's fallen out of favour, though, hasn't
he? Yeah, but he's still here in a bit of a long
deal, and he's here for 3 years, so I don't think he's going anywhere. Is he?
It was a weird one because I looked at I was looking at Bianchini's like stats earlier. I don't think he started a game under Sheehan, where he did start a lot under.
I quite like
starting a striker though, isn't he?
No, he's not started one game under Sheehan, where he started quite a few under.
I think like Vipotnik has taken that share of game time, which you probably argue is probably like we were questioning why he wasn't playing more. So
weird.
And Bianchini was never signed to be that. He was signed to be a winger.
Yeah, weird. We haven't even seen Bianchini really getting much time off the bench anymore either, though.
No.
Because I did like him through the middle for a little spell.
He's been okay. He looked a bit rugby at the start, but he hasn't actually been. It's the price tag's probably a bit high.
Price tag paid
for him, but he hasn't. Even on the wing when he's come on those odd occasions under Sheehan, he hasn't looked awful. But then he also has never had a run of games, has he? So he scored more than, for example, some previous signings that we've made in more notable areas, like Mikola, for example. He has made a bigger impact when it comes to goal scoring than him.
Yeah. I think we've just sort of said at the time, and it weren't just us saying it, like it was always going to be burdened by his price tag. Like we sort of knew we'd overspent on him a bit. And as you say, how many games has he actually gone over an hour? I'd probably say I'm just counting them 1, 2.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't know until we saw him playing. But then, it could happen with this guy too. You never know. He could come out and be like, he probably. I think hopefully it wouldn't, but it could.
The difference with this guy, I was just going to say the difference with this guy is that the people who were more bit in the know of data and that, they said negative things about Bianchini at the time in terms of the price, and now they're just all over Anusa in terms of loving the signing. So just listen to people who are smarter than me.
Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. That's quite exciting. But I think hopefully, it's me being optimistic, but hopefully second season is big for some of these players. I'm hopeful Vipotnik will have a better second season. I think he's been he's shown
I think he
glimpses,
will
isn't
with
he?
consistency.
Yeah, I don't know if he wasn't like fully fit this season. Seemed a bit strange. Like someone mentioned there was a bit of a rumor that he wasn't ever really fully fit this season.
I saw
So
that somewhere as well.
hopefully,
But like he did come off the back of the Euros, didn't he? So he probably didn't have summer break.
Yeah.
I don't know how
he's
much
got
impact that would
he's got
have,
3
but we don't
goals.
have that many players in the squad that would be the same.
He's got
Although,
3 goals in the 13 under Sheehan as well. So he's done well.
yeah, he's done right.
He didn't look fit at the start of the season, did he? He looked like he was running with cement in his boots, but I think he did come into a bit more then. And also, it is an adjusting to the pace of the league as well. The Championship is a more brutal league in terms of pressure on the ball, off the ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, in all, 7 goals in 42 games. Most of them are going to be off the bench. Keep in mind, was it 2,090 minutes in 42? So yeah, obviously it's hard to say it's a success, but equally 3 years in his deal, he's still young. I'm optimistic that he has an important role to play this year. There's rumours, obviously, like interest from Saudi and things. I'd be disappointed if he left.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see if that's just agent talking it, but time will tell. I was just going to say, because we were very critical of January transfer window, but I know this is early days, there's only one signing, but I do think they've spoken a lot about different approach and stuff, and as much as last summer was a different group, I think the foundations have been made a long time for this data-driven stuff, and different personnel are slotted in, and I do think, even going back to when we signed Ronald, as much as I know Lee's got reservations, you can't argue that it was a decent pickup. As much as perhaps we should get more out of him, but like that half a season, we were happy with that signing. You can't say that we weren't.
I'm still happy now for a mill.
No, I'm just responding directly to Lee's facial reactions. But anyway, my point being, other than January just got actually, to be fair, I'll talk in a minute about hindsight and all that, but like it does look like a different direction. I don't feel like we've wasted as much money and wasted as many players. Even Bianchini, we've touched on, he has still been involved in the team, and I do think he's useful. Early signings, they look young, long deals. Like it does look like the signs are there that they are trying to get a better system and learning from mistakes. And hindsight's wonderful. We criticised January a lot, and I think a lot went on there to affect what we could have done. And we obviously didn't do what we wanted to do. But the one signing we made, Lewis O'Brien, had a massive impact. And we didn't waste any more money after that. And we've ended up finishing 11th. So ultimately, when you look at January now, it wasn't actually a failure of a transfer window. And at the time, there's no chance in hell we were saying that. But that's the reality. It wasn't. They haven't wasted money, and what they've got helped the squad be better. That's the fact. Yeah. It might have just been one player. There's teams in the league that signed 0 players. So, like, would you have rather Panic sign a bunch of players that didn't work? Like, who's the lad we signed last year on loan from Arsenal?
Oh my God, I can't
remember his name now. Can't even remember his name.
Exactly.
Enough,
but do you know what I mean? Like, we could have had another 2 of those players panicking to get someone in at the end. Like, has that lad that went to Norwich actually done anything?
I don't know. I was going to try and bring up at some point, though, the fact we finished above Norwich is quite funny now.
Exactly.
They fell off a cliff as well.
I'm not trying to defend. I'm not trying to defend what happened in January. It was clearly mistakes, clearly errors and stuff. But what I'm trying to say is they didn't panic and waste money and get things wrong. And hindsight's wonderful. But the one signing they committed to and did put a bit of money behind did actually make a big impact.
I would just like to counter by saying, when you say we didn't panic, I think we absolutely did panic, because we were trying to sign absolutely anyone and everyone in the last 2 days.
To the point of and GOG, or like
but I think we were genuinely chucking offers in for anyone, and everyone was turning us down because they could see what an absolute state.
There was a couple of names, wasn't there? I don't think it was an abundance of people that we were really linked to.
I think it was getting to the point where
it was long-term ones that we were linked with that kind of like played us for fools more than anything, is what I got the
right one. The right one is the one where he mucked us about because he was down there having a medical. He was back the next day to sign, and he never came back. But it was getting to the point I can't even remember the names. We were chucking out inquiries for like loanees from Spurs that we'd never even tried for, with like 4 hours left to go in the window. It was desperation.
Okay, maybe some of that was in there. My point is the targets that have come off rather than the panic ones that didn't come off. Like Lewis O'Brien obviously was someone that they've put a bit of work into and
money. a lot of money. But
yeah,
we needed to, didn't we?
But let's just say, like, before
Probably
we panicked
kept
at
us
the
up.
end because of the way the Grimes left, like if that was what was going on, and Vidal, who, we questioned afterwards, saying like they were too focused on the long term than the short term. But now you look at the picture the way it is today, and all of a sudden that's a good decision again.
Yeah, and we said at the time, if we stayed up, it would prove to be a good decision, because that's another one. If we left into the summer, a bigger club would have beaten us to him. I think a condition
So-
of the January transfer from Aalborg, his former club, and the club we've loaned him back to now, was that we loan him back, and there may have been about 8 teams in for him, and no one else is willing to do that. Because the risk is we paid about 3 million for him as a big signing, an exciting one at that as well.
And if you bear in mind that we're paying for this guy, that's 2 attacking signings that we paid.
we
Yeah.
spent
Money for this
spent
summer,
about
so no one can complain about the us putting money in this
What
year.
was
To be
the-
fair, already,
it's about 6 million. Yeah, I mean, depending on what this Anusa guy is actually, what we've actually spent on him. But point being, I think what I'm learning now is we're not actually skint, are we? Like we're really not. I think it's FFP that's holding us back more than it is like our wealth.
well,
which
we
is,
are losing money every year with the accounts.
Yeah, because what do they say? And roughly speaking, you can lose about 39 mil over a 3-year rolling period. I swear we've lost like isn't it about 30 in the last 2? I know it's not as simple as
It's
that. Like,
quite close over the last 3. It's even close.
yeah,
They've
I
all
know. I
been
think
quite bad.
I do think it's I know it's not as black and white as that. I think it's only certain type of losses. Like if you lose money on, I don't know if it's the academy or something, it doesn't count towards it.
How do we?
Yeah, it's a lot of his club operations, transfers, all that sort of stuff. But like that's why Modric is coming in it to try and raise the commercial
Be interesting
profile.
to
What we
see.
discussed in the last
Be interesting
video.
to see how we compare to other clubs in that regard as well. Like where
I think
where
we're
are
quite
we kind
low.
of in?
We're quite low, and I think a lot of that's location, which people don't. I think people take that for granted, and we had that problem when we went to the Prem.
Yeah,
The
I know that,
sponsors
but I mean,
we
in
can
terms
attract
of like
and stuff just because of where we are.
no, in terms of like losing money, like in terms of where we are, I don't know.
We're not that
I'm pretty
massive.
sure. I'm pretty sure that everybody outside the 3 that come down.
Yeah, no, we're not that out to sync
Probably
with the
not.
league. It's a
yeah.
massive issue for the league. It's a massive issue for the EFL, and then you're going to get the likes of Birmingham and Wrexham coming up that are a bit of anomaly clubs that maybe don't have so much of an issue with it. Like this is where we were talking last week. I don't quite understand enough about the SSP and how Wrexham again around it the way they are, or where they're generating because of the Hollywood aspect. And how the accounts work and what counts and all of this stuff. But then it just means expend more. But Birmingham have come up shouting already that they are going to have the highest spending power the Championship's ever seen, basically. You're like...
Well, isn't it just because financial fair play don't count in League One and down?
Yeah, but even this year they're saying they're going to come up, and they said they're going to break the record for the commercial revenue that they're going to bring into the club the Championship's ever had. That's what their chairman's saying.
But also...
They're finding ways around it, like Wrexham. Like they can attract money just because of the pulling power they've got with sponsors, with the owners they've got, with their stature. Didn't they have like American Airlines or something? Wrexham, something ridiculous. They had TikTok on their shirt. Like the money they can pull in legitimately, as similar with Birmingham now, I'd imagine, with Tom Brady behind the scenes. What they could do in America is probably where all their money's coming from, like shirt sales. Like, wasn't Paul Mullin like second behind Ronaldo or something in shirt sales at one point in America?
I don't know.
It's just the money they can actually bring in through commercial activity is ridiculous.
Hopefully Modric can have some sort of impact on that. He's actually got a bigger stake in the Swans than Brady's got at Birmingham.
Also, though, I was just going to say, if it's a 3-year rolling period and they've been in League One, then doesn't that mean they've now got 2 or 3 years where they can just...
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but there's a 3-year rolling period, but also like a yearly limit as well.
Yeah, but if you say both of those clubs are going to have a higher commercial revenue, coupled with the fact that, their wage bill, maybe not Birmingham, but Wrexham's even should be a lower wage bill to start with. They've got a platform to grow. Birmingham's what I don't get, because apparently their wage bill is ridiculous even now.
But I guess the point is, if they've got a massive commercial revenue, it offsets it anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah.
As long as it's like zero, do you know what I mean?
Do you? But
no.
Like what is happening though? Like the disparity between clubs that have money and then the rest of the, it's just like...
I think SSP is just more toxic than it's... I get they need to try and protect clubs and stuff, but it's not working correctly for what its intended purpose was. It just protects the clubs that are already rich. The
That's
other
what I
ones
mean.
are just fighting a losing battle constantly. There's no way to get rich anymore, and money's got too much in football. That needs some sort of cap on it. They'll never do it, but trying to like
It's too far gone now, isn't it?
stagger
It's too
that
far
wealth
gone. But like,
back into the system is how it needs to go, but it just won't happen.
it's changed a lot though. Like in our time, like since our time of kind of being at the top of the game in the last like 10, 15 years that we've been like Championship and Premier League, it's changed massively. I remember saying all the time, like, oh, there's not a big difference between like the top 4 or 5 in the Championship and the bottom half of the Premiership. I remember saying like there's not that much difference in terms of like quality. Like teams could go up and compete. Like your
Like when
Brentfords
we
and your
had
Brightons have
Brentford
now
in
gone up.
the playoffs, like if we had gone up instead of them, Brentford's still there. So like,
Yeah, but like that. But that's what I mean. That was kind of the end of it, where teams could go up and compete. But now you're seeing,
COVID, wasn't it?
yeah, COVID kind of ruined that for clubs. But you're getting like the teams now that go up, they're not competing at all anymore and getting washed back down.
Well, the Prem
They
never
literally
wanted to
cannot
protect
touch
the
it.
Championship and lower when the COVID happened, didn't they? They were
Yeah,
quite difficult with
and
the
yeah, and now it's shifted like a lot where there's not a lot of difference between like the bottom, I don't know, bottom 2/3 of the Championship and then the top of League One. Kind of in that bracket now, rather than nobody can touch the Premiership now. It's kind of shifted further down, if you know what I mean.
I do think the gaps grow in between League One as well, don't mind. I think Birmingham are maybe a bit of an outlier. I get what you mean, because this season now, I think all 3 of the League One clubs have stayed up. But I guess I'm just going off of the fact now that the teams in the playoffs for League One, I think they'll all struggle. They will all struggle. But yeah, like you say, the Premier League, last 2 seasons now, the 3 that went up have come down, I believe I'm correct in saying. Is that right? Certainly this year anyway. And not only have they gone down, they haven't even got close. So they're like 15 points adrift, maybe more, some of them. Southampton are on 11 still.
It's just kind of, it's ruining a minute, because I know like we kind of got, it was nice to get excited at the end of the season where like we were still mathematically involved in the playoffs, and I thought, oh my god, do I want to go up? I don't even want to be near that for a minute.
Like Southampton, their B team spanked us in the cup. I know it was Luke Williams. They were in that bad spell, but they beat us 3-0. It could have been more. That was their B team, basically.
Yeah, but like you've seen with Leeds and like Burnley, they've come down, and Sheffield United, they've dominated the league, which I'm sure like Leicester and Southampton and who else coming down? Ipswich, I don't know.
Well, Leicester kind of found a loophole last year, didn't they? Where they moved their accounting date to spend more than they could, and got away with it because whatever court ruled that they were a Premier League club when the date was whatever day it was. They had to release their account, so they had to fall under the Premier League rules.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we've just kind of landed now. Like I said, in that we're in that pack now where anybody from like 5th down to the bottom of the league, it's not really that much different.
You're one bad season away from relegation battle.
Yeah,
and Hull finished 7th last year.
Yeah, that's what I mean, isn't it?
They sacked Rosinia for no reason, and then they were 1 game away from going down.
There's no
back relegations. Like, as much as we're on about, we looked optimistic for the summer. You don't even need this thing we've been on about with like Cardiff and maybe a little bit ourselves of like the trajectory like slowly coming down. All it takes is 1 bad year, falls apart.
Well, that's what could have happened to us. This is why I was I know like I was a bit maybe over the top, but I think like we were in the mix. We were in the relegation mix at one point, and we had to make the right. Luckily, Sheehan came in and did a great job and kept us up. But I just think, like I said, if you're 5th down to the bottom of the league, you can either get playoffs or get relegated, and it just depends how your season goes. I do like that we're maybe kind of doing it differently though with these type of signings. That maybe we're trying something different to maybe kind of push away from that pack. And it's just getting more tight as well. Like you need 50 points to stay up now. Like that's just going to grow because that middle pack, like Preston's downfall at the end of the season, like they were just in mid-table obscurity, and then they could have gone down on the last day. It's frightening. It just could happen to anyone at the minute. Like it happened to Cardiff this year, Luton. It could have been Preston, could have been Stoke, could have been us. So I think
I'm just waiting for them to go down. Mind completely contradicting what I just said about the trajectory not mattering as much. I don't think they've finished above 16th in like my memory of them being in this league since they came down with us. It feels like that way anyway.
Yeah, they've struggled. But yeah, Luka Modric spoke to Inuesa to convince him to come. I don't know if he had to do much convincing, but nice gesture that he's been on the phone and ringing him before signing. How much of an impact do you think that had or could have on potential signings?
I mean, it's a good perk to have, isn't it? Modric, most decorated footballer in Madrid's history, officially, based on like how many trophies he's won. I believe I'm right in saying that. Lots of people regard him as one of the best midfielders of all time at this point. Honestly, the fact he's still going like he is, was he 39 years old, 40, whatever, it's just insane. I don't think Anusa maybe needed much convincing, like you said, but it could, you never know. It could actually be, what separates somebody's decision making. Someone like that being on board, having that, reference, I suppose, because he's going to bigger stuff. It's in his interest too.
Trying to be optimistic as well. I know, like we did a video like a couple of weeks back where we kind of moaned about the structure of the club, didn't we, and the people behind the club, and we kind of didn't know what's going on. Hopefully, this kind of helping now that they've got Montague in. We know Modric is kind of there and can do these types of things like phone players and speak to them. I'm hoping it's just a bit more of a streamlined process now. Like we've got clear plans. Vidal came in. This one's done pretty quick. Now, like the season finished and he was signed like a couple of days later. So I'm just being optimistic about what's going on behind the scenes as well, that they've got a bit more of a clear strategy.
It feels like actions speak louder than words at the minute as well, don't it? Like they probably know. I mentioned we're just hearing the same things that we've been told prior, so they've just sort of like got their heads down, cracked on. I think there was a leak, wasn't there, of Anusa on Twitter or whatever.
Oh, they're really trying to stop the leaks.
Yeah, and I think they just put their heads down for a weekend to fast track the transfer because they were worried about Celtic. I think Celtic had been linked with him for a while, but they didn't really do much. Yeah, much about it.
I didn't know that either, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good though. Celtic going in for him.
Good indicator, isn't it?
Yeah. That's exciting. Okay. See what he can do next year.
Predictions then. And I'm going to say it as Ben's pulling it up.
Yeah.
We'll call it after predictions. I'm not going to touch on the Luke Williams stuff. Maybe next video, but we'll probably have other stuff. I forget. And we'll just talk more about the end of the table when we compare them in the next video. I know I mentioned at the beginning we would, but we're already an hour and a half in, so they're going to have to be pushed forward. So
we'll do our season review. We'll do our overall season review.
About to crown our season 1 winners here, though. The predictions.
I've lost it on the last day.
I don't think you've lost. I think you might have won, but we'll see.
You were giving you the big one on the bus to QPR that you've come back and.
Yeah, but then I choked on the last 2 games, didn't I?
I was telling Lee about our experience of being microwaved.
Oh, and to be honest, all it took was one brave soul just going to the driver and saying, "Can you turn the heaters off?" We assumed it was so hot they must have been broken. See, no one actually thought to get up and just ask him, "Can you turn it off?" Next thing you know, we had the sunlight window, whatever you want to call it, open as well, and it was nice and Arctic in there within 10 minutes, wasn't it? But
yeah,
it was too hot.
1-0 Swans against Sunderland.
Right, okay. And just looking at that, I think we all went Sunderland win or draw, so no points picked up there. Hull 1-0. Yeah, so Luke got a correct result there. Didn't me and Lee both go 1-1? Oh well, that was didn't matter.
An error, but it's fine. I'll take the points.
Yeah. QPR, I went. This is where I thought I could have come back.
2-1.
I went 2-1 to Swans. I was the only one to go for a Swans victory. So at this point in time, me and Luke had gone 45 all.
Oh, wow.
But yeah.
1-0 to Millwall.
Don't tell me we've drawn.
Yeah, you are.
I'll just keep going.
Oh, no.
It's fine. We only had a forfeit. We didn't have a prize.
And then Oxford, it was 3-3.
Drawing in. What did I say
wasn't
for
part
Millwall?
of the plan.
I said
You've lost a Cantor, mate. Sorry. If there was a forfeit, it would have been you. But me and Lucas have drawn. I didn't have a plan for this. Should we have to just... Right, without checking quickly, should we just say the tiebreakers most correct scorelines? I don't know who's done it.
You can do if you want.
Right, so just count the number of
many fives in there, is it?
Yeah, let's have a look. So you got
3, I think.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jesus, Luke. 5 for Luke. And I've got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so basically, if we're doing that tiebreaker, Luke has won. I was
in relegation at Christmas. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you were, and you came back strong in the end. So fair play. Lee, I need him
shocking.
and need an improved performance next year, we will have a forfeit in place.
We did have a forfeit that we
we
said
never
in the
agreed on
video
it,
that
did we?
you weren't here.
Or Lee's
Me
one.
and
Oh, yeah,
Ben
when Lee-
agreed because you were
yeah.
bottom, and we decided we would agree on a forfeit.
I've regrouped. I've changed my management structure behind the scenes for next season.
So
Made some early signings.
Do you want to know the forfeit?
Go on.
You got to wear a Cardiff top to work.
Yeah, we're not making you do that. It was
Oh,
a stupid,
Ben, I was
stupid
gonna
idea. That's a
I'd get
stupid
away-
idea. We don't want that anyway.
I'd get away with it in work, to be fair.
I know, but your colleagues wouldn't let you get away with it, would they?
He also needs to own a Cardiff top for that to happen.
I can
So,
obtain one. I've got sources.
Nah. This was the alpha
I'm
version.
joking. We won't make you do that.
But
I don't wear
next year-
third tier.
That's a
Top.
Highland trophy.
Nice one. But no, next year we'll have a proper forfeit in place. We'll all agree. Something that's actually more doable.
Yeah,
You
Lee's
won't- you
got
won't
down
ca-
a Madry on stream.
We will.
Yeah.
I was going to say we'll select a drink for the person to drink.
Oh, tell you what we'll
Oh,
have to do.
cider. You ate cider.
It's like,
What we'll have to do, we'll have to come up with like 3 forfeits and have
You
people
could
like
do
vote
that
on
anyway
it.
next time. Just have a drink. We'll select. Get a top shelf.
oh no.
But no, I reckon make people vote on it. They
All right.
choose
Well,
for
what do you
us.
think you want to see Lee do as a forfeit? If you're still watching at this point, I might post it on Twitter as well. But if anyone's listening, maybe we'll do it at the beginning of the next video.
Oh, I would really hate to have a balcony beer right now. So don't vote for that.
On that note, we'll call it a night. I'm not sure when the next one will be. Maybe a couple of weeks because night shifts and holidays and stuff. Off season anyway, so it's not a massive deal. But we'll in the next one we will review and compare our championship table and do all that sort of stuff. Hopefully there'll be some other news to talk about by the time that comes around. So thanks as always for listening and watching. Leave a like, subscribe, all the rest of it, and we shall see you in the next one.
In a bit.
Bye.